Hello and welcome to Game Theory. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened in the NBA tonight, plus break down some tape on Cade Cunningham versus the Wizards, and then go back in time from the weekend and talk a little bit about Steph Castle's 22-point game against the Lakers and Dalton Knecht's 27-point breakout against the Pelicans. But first, let's hit the music.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Way downtown.
Bang! Bang! What's this gonna be? Wow! Are you kidding me?
Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. But if you watch the tape, what you will see completely orchestrated this game. Hope you're all having a beautiful Sunday night going into Monday morning. If you're out on the West Coast, it is certainly still Sunday night. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened in the NBA just to start the show, because it was another fun night. I wouldn't say it was a night filled with a ton of close games necessarily, but we did get that super fun Minnesota Suns game in the middle of the day, kind of, going toward the evening, I guess, where the Suns are up late and really kind of winning throughout the course of that game, it feels like. And then, man, Anthony Edwards just took over, put this thing on his back, brought the Timberwolves all the way into this thing, and then Julius Randle drills a three to win it. Super fun game. The Timberwolves needed one. They needed one to kind of stem the tide of some of the recent losing. They lose that back-to-back in Portland. It felt like they just needed to get one. To me, they just needed to pick up a win just to kind of get over the hump a little bit and get back to that winning grace. They get one against Phoenix. That was super fun. Indiana beats Miami tonight, by 9 points. It just kind of seemed like Indiana was mostly in control of this game. I'm trying to remember if I can feel like I remember a time when Miami really, truly, took control or took a significant kind of lead or anything. Miami obviously brings it back late with that, Tyler Hero little run where he gets fouled and then hits that long three off of, I think, a Josh Richardson kick out or something. And, they tie it, I think, a little bit later with a Duncan Robinson three, but even when it was tied, it just felt like they were doing it against half bench units for Indiana, and Indiana was going to kind of be able to bring it back to me. Indiana, again, another team that kind of needed a win. They were sitting at 5-7 on the season, not all that far out given how bunched the East is right now, but a game that it was good to see Indiana win. They're now tied with Miami at 5-7. Goodness. Denver played without Nikola Jokic tonight, and it was kind of a bloodbath. It felt like Memphis just completely destroyed them. Basically from, I would say, the second quarter onward. I think it was 20 going into the fourth quarter. Man, if this game wasn't a indictment on Denver's roster surrounding Nikola Jokic, I don't know what was. If this wasn't obvious evidence that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the league and MVP, I don't know what was. Memphis wins that game. Portland, kind of a weird back and forth game where Atlanta goes way up early. Portland kind of tries to scrap and fight and claw it back. Then the third quarter, they absolutely go on a blistering run to take the lead and really look like they're going to kind of run away with it. And then Atlanta fights back late. They actually take the lead super late in this game. And then Portland's able to kind of scratch and claw it and end up winning it late. I mean, if I do a video tomorrow, which I think I will, I think we will have another post-game theory tomorrow, I will probably be talking about Shaedon Sharpe's game, because Shaedon Sharpe had an unbelievable close to this game where in the final 2 minutes, he had a sick little pull up, kind of mid-range, far mid-range jumper. Then he gets fouled on, I think, a drive. Then he drills a 30-footer, and then he goes and gets fouled again on a drive into the basket and just completely and totally took over this game down the stretch late for Portland. It was everything that Portland fans had really been hoping for from Shaedon Sharpe for a long time now, just hoping that he could be that star wing, especially if Scoot Henderson is not going to quite be the level player that what Portland thought. Scoot's obviously young, but Shaedon, I mean, just looked like an absolute dude tonight. And it was really, really impressive to the point where I think I will probably break that one down tomorrow. I just didn't have time to grab all of the tape that I wanted to tonight. But man, was Shaedon was just totally sick tonight. GMAC would yell at me if I didn't mention that the New York Knicks beat the Brooklyn Nets by 10. And then finally, the last game I'll talk about a little bit in detail here. I haven't watched any of Dallas, Oklahoma City yet. I'm sorry. I would like to, who knows, like I might talk about that game tomorrow, but I did catch some of Houston, Chicago, and Şengün has a triple-double in this game. Amen Thompson has just like this unbelievable game driving to the basket, was incredible throughout the course of this basketball game. He only played 22 minutes because they didn't need him, but like he had 16, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. He was dominant in this game to the point where I don't know if I've seen Amen even quite as good as that. And I've seen Amen play really, really well. It was a get right game for Reed Shepherd. He ends up with 12 points. It was just a total bloodbath against a Chicago defense that looked completely and utterly at sea. Like they had no real chance to stop anything at the basket. And we knew that Chicago's rim protection was going to be rough this year, but it was particularly really, really, really bad in this game. Really, really bad in this game. Okay. Let's dive in though to Detroit versus Washington, where look, Detroit wins this game by 20. It never felt all that close. Detroit was up in the first quarter and then just kind of rolled along. Jaden Ivey has 28 in this game. Malik Beasley, ended up with 6 threes and, hit a couple of mid-range jumpers as well. He had like a run out transition dunk, I think, as well. Isaiah Stewart was really good in this game. Jalen Duren ends up with a double-double. But the guy I want to talk about is Cade Cunningham. And there's a reason I want to talk about Cade. There are 2 reasons. So A, look, Washington has not been a great defense this year. We don't need to pretend otherwise, right? Like we don't need to sit here and be like the Wizards are some incredible defensive juggernaut. They're not. But what I will say is that the Bilal Coulibaly matchup has been really tough on some guys throughout the course of the season. There's a whole video over on the YouTube channel where you can watch what Bilal did to Trae Young in a game earlier this year, where I thought it was one of the more impressive on-ball defensive games that I've seen in a while. I thought he was a stud on that end. So Cade having to deal with Bilal in this game was a really difficult assignment at the very least. And it's the kind of assignment, given how loose Cade has generally been with the ball over the course of his career, frankly, and at times this season, where I wanted to see what he would look like dealing with that kind of long ball pressure throughout the course of the game. Second, I just loved what Cade did defensively in this game. And I think it's a huge reason why Detroit has been able to take a big leap. JB Bickerstaff is the biggest reason why they've taken a big leap. He's clearly holding these guys accountable in a way that Monty Williams just never could, for whatever reason. We can talk about what those reasons are. Monty might have been a little bit checked out. Maybe the kids just weren't ready to buy in on that end necessarily. But Cade has lifted his level on defense in a significant way, to where I think that like there's not going to be really a case against him as an all-star if Paulo misses as much time as we think Paulo's going to miss, and if Scotty Barnes misses as much time as we think Scotty Barnes is going to miss. Cade has been unreal this season in leading the Pistons to now a 7-8 mark, where they're in the playoffs as of right now in a catastrophic Eastern Conference. But beyond that, Cade Cunningham goes for 21, 10, and 10 tonight, has 5 steals, He only turned the ball over twice in this game where he's facing Bilal Coulibaly. And on the season so far, Cade Cunningham is averaging 23.2 points, 7.1 rebounds, 8.6 assists. He's averaging nearly 5 turnovers a game, which is way too much. And I want to acknowledge that from the top. This is not a game that was representative of Cade in terms of his turnover issues throughout the course of the season. But it was a good game for him having the turnovers under control. And I think we should just start breaking down tape in terms of what I'm seeing, both on offense and on defense, because as Mr. TD says, Cade should be on triple-double watch nightly. I mean, he is on triple-double watch nightly at this point. And if he's also doing it while defending, that's a huge, huge difference maker for the Detroit Pistons moving forward. Okay. So let's dive in and talk through this. So Cade at the top here, number 2, being guarded by Bilal Coulibaly. And let's just kind of talk. So here, we get kind of an early action for Jalen Duren to come up, set a screen. And Malik Beasley's just going to pump fake, step in, drill a mid-range jumper. This is just classic Cade Cunningham, right? Eyes always up. And we can even go back here and talk about what this action is. It's like a cousin almost of a ram ball screen. It's like a side ram ball screen where Tobias Harris is coming to set a screen here on Sarr as he comes around. And Duren's coming up to set a screen here. The goal with something like this is to get just like a little bit of separation between these two, so that when Duren goes to set a screen, it puts some pressure on the backside defender on the roll particularly. What I love about this here is Cunningham does a great job of trying to keep Sarr attached, knowing that Jordan Poole here is on the weak side. He's trying to find the lob for as long as he can. Poole stunt steps in. You can literally see Cade looking that way. He sees that Poole has stunt stepped in, which is going to leave Beasley wide open. So now he's just waiting to see how far does Sarr come to him. Do I have an angle to get the lob up, or am I just going out to Beasley? He ends up just getting it out to Beasley. Easy assist. Really good. Just reads the court really well. And now we're going to get into defense. So Cunningham here, I think Cade has generally been a somewhat inattentive defender throughout the course of his career in the NBA. Disappointingly so, because he can do it. Like, he actually really can do what he needs to do on the defensive end. Realizing it's a little bit dark in here. I'm going to have to get a light on at some point. Might try and do that while I'm talking through this. But Cade, what I love here is he's tagging. He's available. He knows what he's looking at with Alex Sarr rolling to the rim. Here, both he and Ivy come in and tag here. Make sure they're available so that Sarr isn't going to get a clean run to the rim. Kind of gets a hand on the ball. And now we've got Coulibaly, and he slides in front, just stays in front, stays attached. Then Sarr misses the shot. He goes to get the rebound, right? This is stuff that, you know, he might not have done a year ago in for all likelihood. This ends up leading to a drive from Ivy, bucket from Duren. That's a kill, though. That's a big stop from Cade Cunningham there. So here, again, I love the way that he stays attached to Kuzma here until they call out the peel. So he stays attached as long as he has to. He's trailing. He's trailing. He knows he's got Duren here. He waits for Duren to get all the way over. Duren waits for him to be able to cut off this little pass here, this pocket pass potential to Sarr. I love that Cade has his arm out, making sure that he can't actually achieve that pocket pass. It's a contest. Another long rebound leads to another long run out. Again, Cade's the low man here on what turns into, what is this? Is this a horn set, it looks like? So kind of a horn set where Sar is going to cross screen for Poole to come over, take this ball here. And then Sar is going to come from his cross screen area up to screen, and Poole's going to try and get through here. Or he's going to reject. But what I want you guys to look at is what Cade does on the back end. So after this pass here, Cade recognizes that Malik Beasley, under the best circumstances, not a particularly attentive defender, gets beat. So he steps up here just to make sure that he's attached. And then he gets back to Koulibaly, gets through the screen, cuts off the angle, gets the contest. Koulibaly makes a tough shot here. And ultimately, if we're blaming anybody here for why this ends up being an issue, it's Malik Beasley getting beaten backdoor on this cut here. But I like that Cade is there. He's available. Make sure that, okay, if Sar throws this ball, I'm available to try and contest at the basket because I'm the low man. I have to be. And then he fights through, actually cuts off the drive here from Koulibaly, and then gets the contest. That's good. That's about as good as you're going to do it, in all honesty. Back to offense here now. Cade, just perfect. Attacking closeouts. Issue for Cade throughout the course of this season still has been finishing at the basket. One thing I just wanted to call out here, Cade has like a 7-foot wingspan, right? I feel like he short-armed this a little bit. And in part, I think that a reason why he short-arms this is if you look at where his takeoff point is, he kind of takes off of 2 feet from this far away from the rim. What I would just like to see in general from Cade is to take a right foot step here, turn his hips, get to a left step, and then be able to just use his body to protect the ball and goes up to the right hand finish. Instead, he kind of takes that little side jump step here, tries to go up off of 2 feet, when really, I think he should just be a 1-footed finisher. If you're going to finish below the rim, you have to have a better 1-foot package. That's where I think Cade is kind of losing a little bit of his ability as a finisher, particularly. So this one's just like a get set where, you throw the ball, then you go and take a dribble handoff, right? So throws the ball in here to Ivy, then comes back and gets it. Stewart's going to come and set a screen, and he's going to try and get downhill. But instead of trying to get downhill, Stewart goes to set a second screen here for Ivy to come back. This is sharp offensive construction. I put this in here just because I like the set. I think that with Ivy and Cade particularly, this is an awesome set that you can run regularly, because where I love Jaden Ivey is I love Jaden Ivey getting downhill, starting 35 feet away, 30 feet away from the rim, and trying to get downhill toward the rim this way. This is an awesome, awesome, awesome set. I love this. This makes a ton of sense. So here, takes the ball screen, gets out to Kuzma, and just gets the quick little steal with his hands, right? Just gets his hand in there. You can literally see just like him slapping at the ball, right? He sees the ball come in front. He gets a hand in front. Kuzma has unfortunately not been very good so far for the Wizards. Cade goes to get it. Little dump off pass, potential assist, just doesn't go through. Here, Screen from Ron Holland. He gets the switch now onto Jordan Poole. Ultimately, you'd like to see him make this shot as well. I think when he's older, he'll probably make this shot. But Cade was getting to his spots is the point tonight. And I think the offensive construction here is really important. The Wizards were using Jordan Poole to kind of sneak off of Ron Holland, right? So that Poole didn't have to expend a ton of defensive energy, given how important he has been to their offense. Cade recognizes the rim protector. That's an easy shot that he should make. He makes them a decent amount of the time. Just didn't make this one. This is a awesome defensive possession where you're going to see Cade starting out here so that you guys know where he is. So screen, steps up to tag. He's there for if they hit the roller in Jonas Valanciunas. Then he's still here with the tag. Closes out. Ultimately, you'd love to see him be able to cut off this drive, right? But this is a long closeout. Like he's coming from there and avoiding Valanciunas. This is like a 25-foot closeout in what, a second and a half? It's not super easy. But I like that he fights back. I like that he gets there. I like that he at least gets a side contest, forces a miss. Here, ball screen, switches on to Kuzma, does a great job, stands him up, walls him up real quick, gets the contest on the Poole shot whenever they decide to go under this screen here. I don't even know what to call that from Wendell Moore, in all honesty. Not great, I guess is what I would call it. But I like that he's there. I like that he's able to get the contest on the Poole three from deep. So this is a zoom action. Cunningham just hits the shake man coming up from the corner. This is like typical, patented, simple action here, right? So I guess it's not even a zoom action. It's more of a just DHO into a dribble hand or into a ball screen here from Cade. Kind of works the same as a zoom action though anyway. You have the roller. You have the corner man who can make a decision here to shake up to the corner depending on how much pressure they want to put on this man here. Essentially, Cade is just reading Kyle Kuzma here, and you can literally see Cade's eyes are up. He's just looking at Kyle Kuzma here. So he's trying to see, okay, where's Kuzma going? He thinks Kuzma's flat-footed, so he just drills it out to Beasley. Perfect little wraparound, live dribble pass for three. This one, another easy early action. Basically just kind of like a pistol action here. You know, small screen. If there's any hesitation between these two, Cade knows that he can just hit Sasser coming out for the three here. You have Stewart coming out, setting the screen on Valanciunas. You have a cutter back door as soon as he sees his man helps. Sasser drills the shot. Here, this is like a post action here where Cade just brought the ball down the court, started in a post up. They decide to like throw this ball to him somewhere in, you know, no man's land here, and he just has to go out and get it. Just get a quick little step up from Isaiah Stewart here. Wizards decide to ice it. They've been icing a lot, particularly with Valanciunas on the court on side ball screens, just trying to filter guys toward taking mid-range jumpers if they can. Valanciunas comes out as high as he can to the level without risking getting beaten, but he's still just not close enough. Cade drills this three. Cade's been really good this year. He's hitting like 35% from three, hit 2 for 4 tonight. If he can hit that shot at 35, 36% on 7 attempts per game, yeah, it's going to be really good. This one, just another like quick little pistol-y action, right? Where DHO from Tobias Harris. So he takes this, realizes he can get downhill, spins off a Koulibaly. I mean, there's not even a need for any action the rest of the way. I'm sure he's trying to see, is this player going to help over? If so, I have the shooter here. Is Sarr going to help over? If so, I have the dump off here. Instead, he's just going to get all the way to the rim. Finishes. That is good length extension, by the way, on the finish. The other thing I will call out, notice how I said that quick little, like, I would prefer the 1-2, like left, right, or right, left step. Notice how he doesn't take off of 2 feet here. I think he takes off of 1 and gets to the basket just a little bit easier and gets there a little bit quicker as well. If he can get there a little bit quicker, I think it would really help his finishing game. Here, again, does a great job following the driver, or following the roller, I'm sorry, then cuts off the drive. So he's off ball here on Carrington. Yes, he has Tobias Harris low. But I think he sees that Sasser ended up like at a weird angle. So he thinks that the pocket might end up open. This is my guess. My guess is that he thinks the pocket could end up open. It doesn't, but I think he thinks it could, which is why he comes over to help immediately. Stays with him, gets back out onto Koulibaly, forces him directly into the rim protector here. And then they're in drop. He pays attention to where Bub is the rest of the way. Force a shot. I think that was a miss from Koulibaly. Again, Cade, defense. Down here in the left corner defensively, right corner offensively. I like that he's communicating with his teammates here. Like Jordan Poole just absolutely catches them here. So rejects. And then look at him talking. He's talking to his teammates. He doesn't want to be the one to come up because he knows that that's the same side kick out. So he's saying to his teammates, hey, either Tobias or Jaden, I don't know which one he's talking to necessarily, but he's telling them, hey, one of you has to get back. I can't get there. I like that he's talking. I like that he's communicating with his teammates on defense. Again, this is stuff that like it seems super simple, but it's a huge improvement for him on the defensive end. It's a big deal that he's doing this now. This one, I mean, the spin move just looks so much cleaner this year. He goes up and finishes this so well here. Again, they're running a lot of these like kind of pistol-y empty side actions where he gets to kind of go through, try to get a mismatch, but if not, he has an empty side of the court to be able to operate and potentially post. Here, Poole, I think he's trying to feed him back to the help if he can, which is why he stays on this side of Cade. Like, look, this is a very obvious driving lane. Jordan Poole knows that, but Poole's trying to keep him toward the middle because he sees that he's got 4 defenders here that can help him, and he knows this is a mismatch. But Cade recognizes, okay, I can just set him up with a right dribble and then a spin back. You can see him literally starting the spin before he puts the ball on the ground, goes and finishes through a tough rim protector in Alex Sarr, through contact, great finish. Now we're up, empty side again, where he can operate. Again, you just love to see him be able to finish this one at the rim. But he gets pulled in the mismatch again. Just beats him to the rim. Honestly, again, this is where the footwork around the rim comes in. He kind of tries to go up off a 2 here again, right? So you can see that he tries to plant and then takes the extra step here, which gives Sarr that little bit of time just to be able to get back. Where his next evolution, Cunningham's, is going to come is right here, taking off here and just using his length, using his right hand, inside hand to be able to finish here. I think that if he just takes off of his left foot, right hand inside finish, I think that that is where he beats Alex Sarr to the rim and becomes a more efficient rim finisher. Instead, he has to go all the way around Sarr for the more difficult attempt here. That's where the next step is going to come. I think it'll come from Cade understanding just his footwork around the rim a little bit. That's where I think he lets himself down. He clearly has touch. I think he lets himself down with his footwork around the basket, and that's where the next leap will come from him. So here, quick little horn set. I mean, this one, Brogdon just, absolutely throws this to him. This is like an interception where the defender or the quarterback just doesn't even see the safety coming over from the top of the play. So this is a horns action. You're going to see Sarr come up, set this screen here. Brogdon's going to come off of it. Sarr's going to roll. Cade realizes he has to be there and help. Nothing complicated necessarily. The reason that he walks in so early is because they put 2 on the ball here. He knows that he has to be there early to meet Sarr. And Brogdon tries to throw a live dribble lefty pass. And I mean, I think he might just lose control of it now that I really look at it again. I think he probably just loses control of the ball. So Cade, quick little Euro, goes up, finishes. But again, I'll just say, this is one where loading up off of 2 feet with just that little hop step makes sense. You're going through Jordan Poole. You're going through Malcolm Brogdon. That's one where it works. I like that he has it in his tool bag. I just think in the half court, your time is less. You have much less time to be able to go and finish around the basket. I would like to see him go a little bit quicker with his footwork on 1-footed finishes as opposed to 2. So here, again, I like that he's available to Sarr, closes out, forces Coulibaly baseline. They end up getting a turnover, right? So what all are we looking at here? Entry into a middle Chicago zoom action, whatever you want to call it, where Coulibaly is the corner man, dunker spot man, whatever, and he's going to filter through in order to try and pull Cade over this way so that Beasley is the low man and has to help onto Sarr. Cade realizes it, realizes that Sarr is coming that way anyway. I like that he gets out. I like that he closes out under control. Look at his feet here. Doesn't jump. He slides into the closeout, and that forces the turnover. That's excellent. That is absolutely the way you teach this stuff. That is perfect from Cade. Here, ends up getting this ball out of a deflection. Kick out to Tobias Harris. Just misses the shot. I just like the way he processes it here, right? Stops. He knows as soon as he gets the ball here where all 5 of the Wizards defenders are. And he's just trying to figure out, hey, what do we want to do? We're going to get the ball out to Tobias, and he misses the shot. It's a good play, though, by Cade. Here, quick little staggered screen, double drag, whatever you want to call it. Drills it. Now they're up 15. As soon as he sees that Duren gets contact here and that Sarr is in this deep of a drop, it's just too easy. He might make it, he might miss it, but it's an easy pull up every time. The read is easy. This is a true double drag here. Early exit from Duren. Ends up forcing Koulibaly with the pump fakes. I have no idea what the spacing is from the Pistons, in all honesty. It's not great, I guess is the way that you would put it. So pump fake, pump fake. You know, I like that he's able to draw the foul from Koulibaly. There's some craft there. This, I think, might be my favorite defensive play of his game. So just look at the way he navigates these screens, gets up over the top. Does a really good job, right? Look, you're not going to be able to get through every single screen every single time, right? So Koulibaly runs off. Got this little down screen here. He slides up through it. Going to get into a DHO, if I remember correctly. Yep. And then you're going to get into another screen where he has to get over the top. Just look at his chest here, right? He is just right in Koulibaly's business. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Does a fantastic job blowing up what they want to run. Again, Cade doesn't have to be some unbelievable defender. He just has to give effort. And when he does give effort, he's a good defender. It's just that it can't be what it was last year, where it was inconsistent effort. And so far, like, he's had games this year where he's not great on defense, but I think he's been at the very least average more often than he's been below average. And I think that he's had games like this where he's been really good on defense at times. So this one, you know, again, this is simple, right? Sarr, high ball screen into a roll. He just has to be available as a tagger. Goes up, gets the steal. This one, we're out in transition. Hits Ivy. Easy kick out, right? Here, you know, again, just look at him. Aggressive on Koulibaly. Gets back in front. Forces the miss. He was super competitive on defense in this game. And he has real length. Like, look at where he is. He jumps from here. That's real separation. He has the length to be able to get back in contest. Really good. Just really, really good. Here, again, defensively. Goes up, gets the ball. I mean, you can just see his hand slap down on it. Perfect. Gets it out to Holland. They end up keeping the ball. He can be lethal in transition, man. If he has a chance to do stuff like that, can be absolutely lethal. So this one, down screen from Duren, back up to a ball screen, then into a sick little lefty wraparound pocket pass, right? So Duren down screen here, Cade up, Duren comes up, sets a screen here for Cade. Cade rejects it. That's a hard pass, guys. That is a tight window here for a pocket pass. You've got Kuzma right here. Puts it in the spot where Kuzma can't get to it. And it ends up leading to an easy bucket. Offhanded. That's really hard. Not a lot of guys do that. Again, pistol-y kind of action. Does a great job hitting the little dump off here to Stewart. Then Cade, just a quick little make here. Again, how did we get there? Basically any action involving these two guys, I'm going to love it. Do this more often. Make life hard. Beasley can really, really shoot it. I think that's how you really get him involved. And then just a perfect little dump off, right? Excellent. Here. This is the mistake that he made defensively in this game. I think generally he's not very good at picking up in transition. I think sometimes he will kind of stay attached to the ball too often, try to get back. I mean, this is just such an easy transition pickup where he has to be on the shooter here, has to be on Kispert. He knows it. He kind of slumps his shoulders after. He understands it. But he's got to be there. That's the one mistake, though. Like, if he makes one mistake in transition, you're probably okay with it. They crushed the Wizards on the boards in this game. I felt like 13 offensive rebounds to 5 for Detroit. This one, the Wizards went into zone in the fourth quarter. I like that he just shoots this gap here in this zone. Does a really, really good job. Shoots it. Gets to that spot there. Just decides to go up for the little floater. Look, he'll make some of these. He'll miss some of them. To me, that's a good shot, though, against the zone. Then we're going to get back in. Gets to his spot in the mid-range. Ends up missing this one, too. But hey, sometimes you're going to miss a couple on a possession. It's fine. The process is good, though. This one, rebound, home run pass. Easy for Malik Beasley. Again, just the vision. Just very quick. Sees it all coming here. I love the early hit ahead to Fontecchio. Realizes he has to get it over the top of Kuzma there. Kuzma's a long defender. Gets it there. That pass is what leads to them being able to have this team in rotation, right? When knowing that they're going to be falling into zone. Kick out, kick out, kick out. Sometimes you make them, sometimes you don't, right? Good little quick pass with his right there. Again, in zone. Forces the little help from Poole with just this little action, but getting the ball into the middle there to Duren to start, to me, huge part of this. He's able to get it out to Fontecchio, reverse it. Then you get the screen. Makes it so George is a little bit unaware of the screen. He sees Poole have to help way in here, and that's an easy kick out against his zone. It's just good. Just really, really good to me. Again, Cade available here. Steal out in transition. Easy kick out to Fontecchio. Beasley. They get fouled. Steal, though, he's available. That's a good game. That's a really good game from Cade. That's not his best offensive game of the year, but in terms of like overall production, where he goes for 21, 10, and 10, has a bunch of great offensive rebounds, has a bunch of really awesome moments on defense, has 21 points, goes 7 for 15, only turns it over twice, though. Just an excellent all-around game that I thought deserved a lot of credit. And it was not his, again, this is probably like his 5th best game of the year. This hasn't been some incredible basketball game where he was great or anything. He was solid in this game. He was really, really solid. So I liked it. I'm just not going to sit here and, say this is his best game. Here's the thing, though. If that's his like median game, Cade is probably an all-star this year. I think I saw this question. Is Cade worthy of an all-star spot so far? To me, absolutely. Like, we could give Cleveland probably a couple. We could give them, at least Garland and Mitchell. Both those guys have been fantastic. I would say that we give Boston at least, 2 or 3. Tatum, Brown, and maybe Derek White. Derek White's an interesting conversation at the very least. I would say that Siakam's probably there. I would say that Karl Towns is definitely there. I would say Franz Wagner is definitely there for me right now. And I'd say LaMelo Ball is definitely there as well. After that, though, Giannis as well. Sorry, I'm realizing I missed Giannis. After that, I would probably have Cade right now. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be an absolute like war for some of those Eastern Conference All-Star spots. It's not nearly as competitive as it is in the West, but it's still going to be a battle. I would have him as an All-Star right now. We'll see what happens throughout the course of the year. But a big reason why is that he's taken a big leap on defense. He's no longer just a sieve. He's averaging 23, 7, and 8, and they're a top 7 defense, and he has been really, really good. Really, really good. Okay. Before we get to the next little game that I want to dive into, we got to shout out our good friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. We love PrizePicks here at the Game Theory Show because of how easy it is to get real money sports action. If you think Justin Jefferson or someone like that is going to get 83.5 receiving yards, if you thought that Jamar Chase was going to get more than his total tonight, you can just make your picks over or under in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. Download the app today and use the code Game Theory to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use the code Game Theory to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Today's show is also brought to you by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a very liberal 4.5 APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of the high net worth for any net worth for just $5 per month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply for product specific disclosures. Visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Okay. Next up, let's go to the Lakers and talk about a couple of games that occurred over the weekend. We'll start with the one that was good for them. They won both of these games. The Lakers now are 9-4. They have won, I believe, their last 5 games at this point. In the most recent game they played came against the Pelicans. And Dalton Knecht goes for 27 points in this game. Really did a big thing, kind of saving them. They came out flat against the Pelicans, if we're being honest here. And they figured it out. They figured it out on the fly. They figured out how to kind of get back into the game a little bit. And a big part of it was Knecht kind of entering the starting lineup over the last 3 games here and being able to just come in and knock down shots. Over his last 3 games, he has 19 points, 14 points, and then had this big 27-point outburst against the Pelicans. But overall, if you look at the 3-point percentages, I mean, he's made 12 of his 19 3-point attempts in these games. He has been enormous for them. Moreover, though, I'll note particularly in this game against the Pelicans, I don't know if I ended up grabbing any defensive rebounds, just in terms of like breaking down tape with them. But he grabbed 7 rebounds in this game too. He was a good athlete. You know, we always have known that about Knecht. Does a great job being active and aggressive. He cuts back door pretty well. Always trying to hunt his shot. Moves well without the ball. He's been a real weapon so far for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I've been a fan of what I've seen from Knecht to this point in the season. So let's kind of dive in. I think that he would probably be my biggest regret in terms of having left him off of the rookie rankings recently. It's funny, like he enters the starting lineup immediately upon, I think the rookie rankings ran on Wednesday. And, you know, he ends up going for 19 points on 31 minutes Wednesday night after having, you know, not really played that many minutes over the course of his earlier portion of games. He was consistently in the rotation, but wasn't going crazy in terms of minute loads. But since then, he's been really good. 19 points, 14 points, and then the 27 we're going to break down here. So let's just kind of talk through, and this is good. We can talk about some of the Lakers' architecture on offense, right? We love doing that. And this is a good opportunity so we can get going here. First set of the game. What are we running, JJ? Just a quick little weave action at the top. That's going to lead into like a chin set, basically. So this is like kind of a classic chin action where Reeves is going to throw this ball this way. Going to get a ball screen here from AD. And I believe Reeves is going to cut to the rim, if I remember correctly. That's right. So Reeves is going to go that way. Connect screening. AD coming up to screen. And then you're going to get Connect here for an open three. This is absolutely an elite way to use Dalton Knecht. I love so much about this. He misses the shot. That's the only thing wrong with this set. This is the kind of stuff that JJ has really brought to the table for the Lakers this year. I love it. I love everything about it. Just misses the shot. So here, good tip. Reeves does a good job drawing a couple of defenders. And I love how he here Connect just sees his man fall asleep, right? So picking up in transition, in all likelihood, this is probably going to be his man here because Ingram is here. Depends on the way that, obviously you see Russell coming back here. So, this man could take Reeves and sink back. Clearly not a lot of communication from the Pelicans here. And I think the Connect just sees that. He sees this man stop here. So he's going to be able to get to the rim. And the worst case scenario here about Reeves, if he cuts like this, is he's going to force Ingram to help here. And that's going to leave Gabe Vincent just absolutely wide open. That's perfect. Instead, Ingram does not help. And Connect just gets an easy bucket. Great way to start the game for him to get, I think maybe that was his second bucket or so. First quarter, though, I love it. It's a great play. Always cutting, always trying to find quick opportunities. This one. So quick little screen here from Koloko. Ugly pass from LeBron. I truly have no idea how Trey Jemison ended up being responsible for Dalton Knecht here. Okay, so now I do. So this is a bad way to defend. I really don't like this at all. Okay, so the Pelicans here are I'm guessing pre-switching this is really the way to refer to this. Where typically Jemison would be the guy in drop here. So screen, Koloko. You'd expect LeBron to be coming to try to get downhill. Jemison has to be here to play in drop. Instead, he calls out, okay, let's pre-switch this. Let's have the wing come forward here. He'll take LeBron. I think that's Brandon Boston. So as soon as LeBron hits this pass to Gabe Vincent, if this pass is in any way, shape, or form on target, I mean, this is just such an easy drive here for Vincent to be able to get downhill, but it's not, so they get more time to be able to try and figure this out. Even still, this is an incredibly difficult closeout where I think that's Javonte Green has to be the help man. but it's still a wide open driving angle for a point guard from Vincent. And all Vincent has to do here, he knows that if he just forces his man this way, Jemison's probably going to stay there to be the rim protector, and he can just shoot this out to Knecht super easily. He's driving with the anticipation of kicking this out. I just have no idea why that would be a plan defensively here. Because this is a Ram ball screen, so I should call that out too. It's a Ram ball screen. Boston calls it out. Vincent does a fine job of holding Jemison here, but like, get up through this. Oh no, I've gotten this wrong the whole way. Okay. So Jemison is not calling a pre-switch. Jemison is calling, hey, get back out. I will be in drop. This is fine from Jemison. This is terrible from Brandon Boston. Regardless, the issue for me here is Jemison needs to fight through this. You can't switch the Ram ball screen or the Ram screen into the ball screen. I have no idea why you would do that. That's insane to me. And then he's telling Boston, hey, get back over to Vincent. He's passing Vincent off. I will come up and drop. Okay, I like this a little bit better now. It's terrible from Brandon Boston, but Jemison has to do a better job of not switching that. Maybe Boston just like auto switched it, but that's really bad from the Pelicans. That's atrocious. But hey, when you have Dalton Knecht and he's a 40% plus 3-point shooter from the corners, it's pretty easy. It's the value of having a 40% 3-point shooter from the corners. So here, Knecht. I don't think Knecht has been very good defensively this year. I think this is kind of a prime example of why. I don't think he's particularly good with his angles, particularly. So here, he just gets off his line. He goes way too far this way. I think that he's thinking maybe we're not switching this, but his partner in this screen here, who is Vincent, says, no, we are switching this. Just not a lot of communication there. And he needs to be really solid on his line. Here, this is just an awesome DHO reject. Again, Knecht, having him in the corners just puts so much pressure on a defense. So what is this play? AD sets a screen here for Austin to come up and get the ball. Then you have Gabe Vincent come around. I love Reeves. Little hesitation pause there. And as soon as he gets past this and penetrates, this has to be a help, and it's going to leave Knecht wide open. The whole architecture of this play is based on Dalton Knecht being an elite corner 3-point shooter, putting so much pressure on Jeremiah Robinson Earl to be able to both help and then get back. So this one, they've run this play a lot. Can't remember what this play is called. I feel like I learned at one point. So DHO here from AD. AD filters here. Ball goes back out to Reeves. Entry pass here. Seems like Reeves could go for a quick little DHO. Instead, they're flipping it the other way, getting it to AD. And then this is just going to turn into like a DHO 3-pointer. This is a set that Connecticut runs pretty regularly. This was awesome with Donovan Clingan last year. We talked about this on one of the early Lakers offensive architecture videos we did this season. I love the set. I mean, sometimes you're going to make them, sometimes you're not. I think Dalton gets fouled on this for what it's worth. You can see him like kind of look at the ref. I think he pretty clearly got hit on the hand. But I love the play. Again, like the offensive architecture here from the Lakers is just sick. I love everything that JJ is doing. So here, you get that little baseline screen. We'll go through it in a second. Almost kind of like a split action, like pseudo thing here where you get cross screen here from Christie to come over so that LeBron can get the ball on the block. Reeves entry, then goes away. Entry, then away. A lot of the time when you run these kind of actions, Knecht's positioning wouldn't be all the way over here. It'd be like more up here. And then he'd either cut right here or he would come around and be able to take like a pseudo dribble handoff 3 from LeBron. Instead, they set it up so it's almost like a reverse like elevator play sort of, which again, like this is a sharp creative set to me. And I like it as like a counter off of a normal kind of split action. So instead of having one screen, they have 2 screens here for Knecht to be able to make a choice where he can come this way. If they're way overplaying, he can just cut. If he feels like they're locking and trailing on him, he can come across here and try to get back this way. Or you can do what he does here and split the screens and kind of come just through the 2 screens here, which I would imagine, given the way that he cuts through here, is probably what they want. He gets the ball, ends up being a steal from Ingram. But again, I love the set here. We haven't even seen Dalton get going here yet because I just love the offensive actions that they're running. This is really sharp stuff to get Dalton Knecht easy looks. And honestly, he could have had more than 27 in this game. He could have had 30 if he'd have taken advantage of some of this. He's going to have a 30 ball at some point this year. So here, I mean, this is just awesome from Reeves, right? So again, entry to AD. Another way to kind of run like a pseudo like split kind of thing is, this is not really a split necessarily. You can have Reeves go away and set a screen here for whoever's at the top to come this way. And then cut back door. This is actually probably a little bit more traditional even than what I mentioned earlier. So he decides to cut here. Reeves feels this man here has helped. Which is why when he catches, he knows, oh shit, Dalton's wide open. I'm just going to be able to turn and whip this around and drill Knecht for 3. Again, just awesome offensive architecture. I love the early screen there from Reeves. Then we're reversing down. I kind of think that early screen from Reeves is a huge part of why this play works. So Reeves goes, sets this for AD to try and get downhill. Ingram has to stay attached here to AD. Missy is going to try and recover back to AD. And now they have 2 guys on Anthony Davis, which means you have to rotate. So I believe that's Brandon Boston again. Brandon Boston has to rotate up here. That's Javonte Green. Javonte Green has to rotate up here. And then really you're forcing Ingram to X out from all the way on the opposite side of the corner. Or you're forcing Missy to go out onto a shooter, which is absolutely not what you want. Connect drills a three. Perfect. This time they've Connect bring the ball up. Looks like a typical horn set. Again, just a little miscommunication here between AD or between LeBron and Connect. I am guessing that what happens here is the Lakers run this set all the time where they have Connect shoot through. I'm thinking that as soon as he sees the double, he wants Connect to like stop here. I'm not totally sure why, in all honesty. Like, I'm not sure why he's mad about this, which makes me wonder. I mean, you can see him like kind of remonstrating, let's go with. I don't know if he's mad at himself or if he's mad at Dalton for like not staying. This could be like a set action off of this where maybe they're like trying to get him on like a flare and Dalton's supposed to go here, but AD isn't really screening off of the flare. So I think maybe LeBron just made like a read and is just mad that him and Dalton aren't on the same page. Because if Dalton just slides this way here, this is a wide open three. LeBron's not wrong here. It's just if the set's supposed to be something different, maybe like LeBron wants Connect just to be a little bit more, responsive here and realize, hey, 2 on the ball here. And maybe this is something the Lakers have taught. If they go 2 on the ball, flare out here, AD sets a screen, wide open 3. Maybe that's taught, right? And maybe that's why LeBron's mad. A lot of reasons why that could be happening. A lot of reasons why, he could be frustrated there. Hard for me to get super mad at Connect unless this is something that they've like genuinely really been teaching. If only because I see them run this all the time where ball goes here to the elbow, elbow extended, cut away. Like that's A, like pretty normal Horns action, and B, it's an action where, they run it pretty regularly. So yeah, that's kind of my thought on that. It's interesting, at least. This is a disgusting baseline out of bounds play. This is just like, as much as this is Dalton Knecht, and Dalton Knecht, it's a lion's share of it because, JJ Redick's running plays for shooters. But this is like a JJ Redick, like offensive architecture, him running a masterclass on a lot. So Reeves goes around the screen here from Connect. That's your first option on this play. If they don't handle that right, this is one where Reeves has to make a choice depending on how they play it. If Robinson Earl, if there's no miscommunication between those two, Reeves has to go back in space. Again, that's like good offensive structure teaching instead of having Reeves cut all the way in no matter what. Now we have Connect. This is why it's important for this to happen here, right? Because say that Reeves is here after he cuts, you've got help on AD, but because Reeves exits, you've got AD coming downhill. On this second screen here. And then you have Connect flashing to the corner off of all these actions for a potentially open 3. This one, he gets wide open, drills it. I mean, these are hard to guard. It's hard to get through all these actions. It's hard to get through all these sets. This is a play I feel like you see a decent amount in college. I mean, Nick Nevins is saying here that they ran this play all the time at Tennessee. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I believe that. It's a really easy set play, really sharp set play. Again, Knecht had 9 in the third quarter, halfway through, was really rolling. This is just a DHO reject set. This is where you can see Knecht get full use out of his athleticism, right? So what is this? Look, it's not far off of a horn set, right? So you have a man in the corner down here, I'm sure. Knecht's going to come through here. And then AD is going to come back. And you're going to be able to get Knecht cutting through. But the way that they run it is, do you remember how with the Cade video, we talked about what's referred to as like a get, right? So I would guess that this is referred to as something like a get DHO reject, where Russell is throwing this ball here to Knecht, and he's going back to get the ball. Knecht instead is going to reject the DHO and try to create that momentary confusion between these two and try to get a wide open lane to the rim. And he does. And Knecht is a good athlete. Like, he can go up and jump. He can get to the rim. He can get above the rim and finish. This is a quick, just little double drag in transition. Now we're seeing him be able to get downhill, try and get to the basket. Look, almost everything for Knecht is in a straight line. Shooting is essential for Knecht. I mean, he can really shoot it. Look at, because he can really shoot it, you get this closeout like all the way up here. Opens this up wide open for him to drive. I mean, the takeoff point is just insanely far. It's going to be incredibly difficult. He has great hang time, but that's just going to be an incredibly difficult finish. Rebound by AD. AD finishes at the rim. Defensively here, I mean, just gets completely caught on that screen and then loses the rebound. He's going to have to learn how to navigate screens and just like he's aware of this one. It's a good screen from, I think that's Jemison. But like, he needs to understand and have the awareness to know that, like, as Jemison continues to rise up the court, you then have more of an ability to go under the screen here. Instead, he tries to fight over the top the whole way, ends up getting played out of the play. These are things you learn defensively. And he has a long way to go defensively, but he'll get there at some point. So here, I just like the pace, right? Doesn't try and do too much. It's like a pseudo, like horns extension E kind of set, right? Somehow I've lost my marker. There we go. Where he's up top. You've got the corners, right? Quick little screen there from AD. Now we're going to have AD come up. Set just a little brush screen and then end up in this area. And he's just calm, poised with the ball. He's not a great passer, but he can do that stuff. Can take advantage of just making those quick little easy reads, right? Here. Again, AD on the ball. This one, he just comes from the heavens. Finishes way over the top of Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. Feel a little bit bad for Jeremiah Robinson-Earl there. They double AD on the block. AD was killing the Pelicans in this game, so I totally get it. 5 minutes left in the fourth. He has 31 and 14 in this game. AD's probably been one of the 5 best players in the league this year, so I get it. What I like here is Knecht realizes that they have 2 on the ball. Brandon Boston is kind of filtering this way toward Reeves. Jeremiah Robinson Earl has helped the helper. Javonte Green has to be 1 pass away to Russell. So even though he was kind of, I think, being the transition defensive presence back there, he realizes, okay, if I cut, I have enough downhill force to where I can get all the way to the rim. Cuts. Russell gets the ball out of the block. Perfect. It's exactly what you're looking for. Great dunk. Perfect finish. Then LeBron, 2 minutes left in this game. Pelicans actually up 2. Then Knecht drives. Just a terrific, terrific drive there. Gets it out to LeBron. This is just like simple, like offensive continuity stuff. LeBron sees that Green is just a little bit off of him. Knecht, I think here you can actually see he has his eyes up. He's looking this way. I think he sees Boston go this way a little bit out of his peripheral vision. Opens that angle up, manipulates Boston that way. Gets it back up to Reeves. Perfect. Absolutely perfect there. And then he's on the ball here. Does a great job here, just beating his man to the spot, but gets bullied through, right? Not a great end note to finish on, but, worth putting it on here. Defensively, Knecht really does have to improve. But overall, like, there's a lot here to be excited about. I think he did a lot really well in this game. And I think by and large, he looks like a real, at the very least, like good rotation player. I would imagine that when they're, I don't know, like their lineup is, when they're fully healthy, I would imagine they're probably going to go back to, when you have Rui and all those guys again, like you're probably going to go back to bringing him off the bench, but I've liked the minutes with him as a starter. I think that his minutes have made sense. He was a plus 11 in this game, tops among all Lakers in a game that they won by 5. I wouldn't mind continuing to see him in the starting lineup as long as they continue to prove that they can defend around him and he can get a little bit better defensively as he gets more reps. But I don't know, with their offensive structure, having a killer corner 3-point shooter to me is more valuable than having Rui on the court. So I probably would prefer to see Knecht continue to start and they go, AD and LeBron at the 4-5 defensively, and then start Reeves, Knecht, and really whatever you want to do, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do. I'm genuinely interested, though. They're a good team. The Lakers are really, really good. They're 9-4 now. They look like a team that is going to be a tough out in the regular season, and probably in the playoffs. They're going to have to do something with D'Angelo Russell. He's been dreadful recently, but they look like a good out, or a tough out at the very least. And I would prefer to see Knecht starting at the very least ahead of Russell, which they've been doing pretty regularly. Okay. Before we move forward, just want to shout out our good friends over at Duer. My Duer pants and shorts are my most comfortable piece of clothing that I own. I have been wearing these things everywhere, from out to dinner with my wife or to basketball games over here in the NBL. And what I love is just how comfortable they are. My jeans, they look great. They're lightweight. They're stylish. They're versatile. You can wear anything with them. They're absolutely my go-to. I think you guys are going to want to get your own pair. Duer is built for doing, with a style of stretch performance denim and lifestyle apparel for everyone in every season. They've got you covered in the colder winter months with fabrics like a fireside denim or an all-winter denim. The all-winter denim features a wind and weatherproof membrane soft shell. Plus, Duer's clothes are sustainably crafted to last, so they're going to be a staple in my closet for years to come. I absolutely love my Duers, and I know that you guys are going to love them too. Check out Duer's flagship stores in LA or Denver, or shop online at shopduer.com/game theory. Right now, my listeners are going to get 20% off your first purchase when you use my exclusive URL at shopduer, shopduer shopduer.com/game theory. This is a great deal, 20% off jeans. Go now, shopduer.com/game theory. Okay. Next up, let's go to Steph Castle. So I feel like Spurs fans have been asking me to do Steph Castle for a little while now. So with his 22-point game against the Lakers over the weekend, I thought this would be a really good time. Castle's been interesting to this point. I would say he's been pretty solid, but not amazing. I had him ranked 13th in the rookie rankings, and I feel like Spurs fans got a little bit disappointed with that. I understand why. He's been much better since entering the starting lineup, by and large. If you look at his last 5 games, I guess this would be 6 games, he's averaging 15 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 47, 42, 76. So he has been really good in these minutes. Tonight, he was just, if I remember correctly, they did play tonight, right? Or was it last night I'm thinking of? Can't remember. But he was just okay in the game they had against Dallas. It was last night, I believe, now that I'm thinking through it. Was just okay in that game, was just okay in the game against Sacramento that I watched. And then had like a solid game against Portland, if I remember correctly. But this game against the Lakers was the one that I thought was like really, really good among the ones that I've seen. And look, I loved Steph Castle coming into the draft. It's probably worth noting that and kind of talking through that a little bit too before we get started. I think I had Steph Castle at 2 or 3 on my board. I think 3, if I remember correctly. And we can kind of talk through why really quickly before we go any further here as I pull up my thoughts here. I mean, a big piece of why I loved Steph was just great defender, real passing ability. I wouldn't say he's like quite a point guard. He's played some point for San Antonio and been okay so far, but I would say he's more of kind of like a do everything-ish kind of guy. I ended up with him in like my top tier of players in this class, which is to say that, you know, he was fine. He wasn't necessarily some amazing prospect that I absolutely loved necessarily. I had him as like a high leverage starter long-term with some all-star upside. If things like really broke right for him as a shooter. So let me just pull up what my thought was on the draft guide real quick while we run through it. So in summary, Castle's polarizing this year because of the jumper. If you believe the touch he's shown from the free throw line and around the rim will translate and you think his mechanics are workable, you'll probably be higher on him. If you think he doesn't have enough of a baseline level as a shooter, you'll probably rank him in the later portion of the lottery. I ended up with him at number 3 because I buy the jumper improving over time. And if it does, he has as much upside as any player in this class. He's a potential big initiator who can already pass and is comfortable in ball screens. He's a lead on defense. That has stood up very early for San Antonio and showed that he can play a high-level role on a winning team. His floor is a contributor that helps you win important games, even in the NBA, due to his defensive prowess and on-ball ability. If the jumper ever develops, he's one of the few players in the class that has a realistic all-star ceiling. It's an uncertain bet, but there are no sure things in this class. I liked the mix of floor and ceiling, essentially, is the easiest way to put this. I saw the vision for what it could be. And my ultimate thought was, you know, the worst case scenario here is I don't think he's going to be a bust. He's a great defender. He processes the game super well. He passes well. There's enough shooting here to where I think he can get to a manageable level. If the pull-up shooting, though, ever comes, he's like a real star. So far, it's been hit or miss to me. He's had some really great games lately, but early in the season, the reason that I had him at number 13 or wherever I had him is that it was a bit of a struggle in his first few games. For his first 8 games of his career, he was at 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, shooting 30% from 3 or 30% from the field, 14% from 3. It took him a minute to figure it out, but now that he's in the starting lineup, he kind of basically took over when Sohan went out. I kind of think he's been really good. And I think he's a valuable player for them moving forward. And he might be more than that. Like he might be the initiator that they're looking for. Because it seems like they want to play bigger. I know they have Chris Paul in their lineup. But I feel like given last year with the Sohan experiment at point guard and everything, they would love the ability to have like Steph Castle be their guard, Devin Vassell be like their 2 guard, have Wemby like occasionally grab and go on the break and just kind of share everything and then be able to play like crazy defense around them and cover all sorts of ground and everything like that. It's not a bad strategy. I just think Castle has a bit of room to grow to get there. Let's just kind of talk through this game. This was his best game of his career so far. 22 points, 5 assists, 7 for 12 from the field, gets to the line 8 times. That's a career high so far. Goes 5 for 8 from the line, but was a plus 17 in this game that they lost by 5. So massive impact. And we're absolutely going to stop and talk about the defense as it comes, because he was a monster defender in this game. I thought he did a great job on defense, but let's kind of run through and talk it over. So here, for people who have not seen Steph Castle play, he's a rookie. It's very possible for some NBA fans, right? This is Steph Castle, very tall hair, leg sleeves, look for that as you're kind of watching him on the court. So they've used him a little bit as a screener this year, which I think is interesting, but you can also use him in on-ball actions. Where this one here, he gets a screen from Champagny, and now he's got downhill against Dalton Knecht, right? I love that he just kind of sets him up. The thing about Castle is he plays at great pace. I've always really liked that about him, even going back to high school when he was in Georgia and when he was playing at different events like Hoop Hall and stuff. I really like that he plays at pace. He's always had great feel in ball screens, but just watch the pace here. So between the legs, hesitating the whole way, right? Trying to get just that little bit of separation, quick little shoulder fake, gets Knecht, gets to the elbow. He's able to drive Knecht back with these moves, makes the shot. Look, I wouldn't say that like Steph Castle is a shooter I completely trust at this point of his career, but if he can make that shot, I mean, he's a serious player if he can make that shot. Like, I will just say that from the jump. If that shot starts falling for him, he has like significant all-star upside if he can make that consistently. I'm going to pull up his shooting numbers to this point of his career for the Spurs. So through, 11 games or whatever. He's taken 38 pull-up jumpers, has made 22% of his threes and 35% of his 2-point jumpers. So not great so far, but I like the move here. And these are places where he can grow, right? So next, steal here from Harrison Barnes. I love that he knows that he can throw this ball about as high as humanly possible here to Victor. And I love that he knows that I've got LeBron here. I can throw this ball a little bit behind Victor and he's still going to go get it. That way you can throw off LeBron just a little bit potentially if LeBron goes toward the rim. Perfect ball. Goes up. Gets it to Wemby for an easy dunk. Nice little quick action here. You can get Castle going downhill toward the rim this way. Again, I just really like the pace here. It's going to end up that Harrison Barnes is going to get fouled. But again, just like a pistol-y kind of action here, where instead of stopping and turning, he just puts the ball between his legs, right? It's just that extra little split second of pressure that I think he puts on the defense here that is interesting and allows him to get deeper position here as he starts his post up against Cam Reddish. Here, I think he's looking at LeBron and sees LeBron is completely fallen asleep in help side defense as Barnes lifts up from the corner. LeBron's ball watching, gets driven. Gets Barnes to the line, but that's good from Castle, right? Again, high-level processor of the game. I really like what he can do in that regard. Really smart basketball player. So here again, just setting up Cam Reddish. But you can also see, like, he gets fouled here. Not a particularly explosive athlete with the ball in his hands. Much more of like a power kind of guy, right? Reddish is going to be able to stay in front of him pretty easily here and just wall up. And Reddish just fouls him. Like, that's a mistake on Reddish's part. Again, slick between the leg crossover. Tries to attack this top foot here. Tries to get downhill. Reddish is able to still kind of stand him up, right? Then he has to pivot back. And really, that just can't be a foul from Reddish. That's just not a very smart play. Just go up straight. Don't go up toward the elbow. It's kind of egregious if we're being honest, and he knows it. Next, look at the defense. Just fights over the top there. Ends up being a made bucket eventually for the Lakers, but this is just the kind of stuff where you can see, you know, reads this pretty well. I would be interested to know what the communication is and the plan is here. He treats it like they're guard to guard switching, like almost like a side stack pick and roll. Where you're worried about this. But really, this is more of like a Chicago. This isn't even like a side stack. This is just like a zoom action, really. So they just decide to switch guard to guard on the zoom. And Steph just goes way up. If they're doing that, though, I'm not totally sure what Barnes is doing, if I'm being honest. But that's what throws me off here is someone between Castle and Barnes screws this up, and it leads to him being wide open. Collins is right. It's either they're guard to guard switching here or they're not, and you need to be able to have that communicated ahead of time. Ends up leading to a couple of offensive rebounds and an easy bucket. Look, communication's going to have to be key, but it's hard to know who to blame that on at the end of the day. Here, going to get a full look at the Castle shot, right? So D'Angelo Russell, again, just has not been great recently. It's going to be a kick out here. First thing, I love the shot prep. I love that he's ready to shoot. I like that he has he's getting real power from the lower half here. You can see his knees bent. You can see that he's generating significant power. I think this shot just looks a little bit funky, if I'm being honest still. Follow through still looks a little bit weird to me. I do think this is better than what it was. I would argue he's probably bringing this a little bit too far back to his head. And I think he's leaning backward just a little bit, just a very slight amount. But hey, it goes in. That's one that went in, right? Look, he's not shooting great from three this year. If you look at the overall numbers, 36% on catch and shoot threes, 22% on pull-up threes. Going to need to get some consistency on the pull-up jumper. So here, I love the way he sets up Reeves here. I would like to see him keep the dribble alive as well. Ends up getting blocked. So a couple things here where we're going to talk through this one. So step up here from Zach Collins. Going to set up to where he can kind of snake this around. I would prefer he keeps his dribble alive here. I think he's thinking, okay, I can just get to this jumper and take it. But this isn't a jumper that you want to take with 17 seconds left, right? And this is like classic, like rookie, right? Like this is not going to continue throughout the course of his career. But he needs to keep his dribble alive there against AD. And that might just be like, hey, this is the first time I've played AD or whatever, right? Like if you don't know like what his length feels like, it can be tough. Like he is a real problem on defense, but he really needs to keep the dribble alive there, in my opinion, especially if he's going to snake that. So second, he goes and gets the ball back. I love the pump fake here, but you can see just like not a lot of lift at the end of the day. Not some crazy explosive athlete. Almost look like he's trying to like cock back and dunk this, but like he's not somebody that can like take off from outside the semicircle and like really throw down with his hang time and like be able to explode through somebody. I think if Reeves doesn't step up here, he might be able to go up and really explode and dunk from there. But like he can't take off from there and go through somebody and dunk it. That's just like not in his toolbox at this point as an athlete. And that's okay. But again, if you're going to do that, you're going to go get that offensive rebound after the ball hits the rim. I think you probably got to either see how many guys are around you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and kick out. Or you've got to take this little exit here and reverse out. Because at the end of the day, you've got a lot of options if you can reverse this ball out. And again, rookie, it's going to take some time. You don't really want to overemphasize these things. He's probably going a million miles an hour right now in his head. But also you'd like to see him finish that. Like Stars finish that play. He's a rookie. It'll take some time. Ball gets back out. Keldon Johnson, I think, missed that 3. But defensively here, goes with D'Angelo Russell. Now we're just going to see him get over the top. Gets through a screen there, no problem. No problem with the ghost screen. And then he just walls up D'Angelo, right? Just like, look at this. This is perfect, right? This is exactly what we're looking for. He's kind of in the air here. But I mean, he's just a wall at this point. D'Angelo can't do anything. He's picked the ball up. That's perfect defense. Leads to a connect jumper. Missed it. And it's a mid-range jumper, so it's not a high volume shot or a high value shot. Here, quick little early action. We're just going to try and let him get downhill. I love the way that Wemby exits early here and forces Davis to come with him. By exiting early, he is forcing Davis to come with him and leaving Reeves to go deal with this. Ultimately misses. Again, like he's strong enough to where I think that ball will go in at some point, but he's going to have to make them. He was a really good finisher at Connecticut too, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Do I have that number? I don't know if I do. This one, easy pull-up jumper, walk in. Look, again, if he's hitting these shots, huge. You know, Reddish takes like kind of a bad angle around. Good screen there. Do I love taking an early mid-range shot here with 17 on the shot clock? I don't, but this one's so wide open. This is so wide open. I like the balance here. He's elevating into the shot. This is one where I'm comfortable enough with it to not complain too much about it. And it looks good. It goes in. I would guess that, you know, you see him do that little quick turn back, right? Right here. Heads turned. He's looking at the pocket pass here. He's trying to spot Reddish, right? I think when he turns back, you realize this Reddish is so far behind him that he can just go, right? Take that shot. But here's the other thing I'll point out too. And this is something that I think I see here in the comments from Eric Olson. He struggles to turn the corner. That has been an issue with Steph Castle his whole career. He's not a guy that really turns the corner, which is why this shot here is so critical for Steph Castle moving forward. Has to make these shots because he is not some crazy athlete. He's more of like a Jimmy Butler-y athlete as opposed to an Anthony Edwards or whatever, right? He needs that mid-range shot to be able to fall. So here, this is the same play again. Just going to see it again. Keldon Johnson trying to back down. Don't love it. I like how he understands how to space here. Just completely catches Cam Reddish falling asleep here and helping on the ball unnecessarily. So Austin Reeves kind of falls asleep on this one as Vassell kind of goes over. You see Collins recognize it. He goes and sets just this little rub action here. Reddish has to help up. That's a good play from Reddish. He has to be there for this. But Reeves gets back. And once Reeves gets back, Reddish has to be there. He's got to go back and get this here. Instead, he tries to play denial. And I love that Castle understands, okay, this is the best way I can help the team here. Just back cutting, right? So kick out. He thinks, okay, I'm just going to space to the corner. Maybe I'll take a three. But then he goes, no, I've just got all the space. I'm going to go. Plus, Reddish is denying the 3-point shot. So if he cuts, he's actually opening up a passing angle. Just really, really sharp from Castle there. This is double drag. Live dribble pass behind him. Really good pass to me. This is good offense. If we're going to start with this, right? So Vassell's going to come here, set a screen. Collins here, and then we're going to try and get downhill. Almost looks like it's supposed to be in action, given the way Vassell acts, where Vassell comes back here, and Collins should be screening Max Christie. I'm just guessing based off of the way that Vassell kind of goes that way, but then when he sees Collins kind of sit there at the top of the key / right wing, he just kind of spaces back. But from Castle's perspective, what he's seeing is that Reeves has come with him and AD has come with him, which means almost certainly that this is a 2-on-1 on the top here, which means at the end of the day, he just needs to get this ball back out. He's kind of just counting bodies on that one and understanding where to go with it. And he's sharp at doing that. That's the stuff he can do. I think he's a really smart player. Again, it's just all about, can he turn the corner and consistently be able to break down defenses? This one, they just go way under, and you don't blame them, right? So here, Cam Reddish is on him. Reddish just chooses to go under this screen, and they switch it. Reeves chooses to go under here as well. Bump the roller and just gives Castle this shot. Honestly, I think that's probably the right call at this point in Castle's career, but he makes him pay. And if he can make that shot, this shot might be the swing skill in his career. And honestly, we've talked a lot about the shooting. The shooting is Steph Castle's swing skill at the end of the day. This shot particularly, if defenders have to go over his screens, it changes the complexity of what he can see on the court in terms of his passing once he gets into this area here. If he has this shot, he does have a real shot to be an all-star, I think. He needs to prove that he can make these shots consistently, and that's probably a couple years away. But if he can do that, he's a real dude, a significant dude. So here, Castle brings the ball up the court. Nasty little right-handed pass here. So what are we seeing as we come up? I honestly think that on this one, he's just seeing that he has Zach Collins and that Collins has LeBron leveraged here if he faces him across or crosses his face here. And it's a good pass, and it's an easy bucket. It's not a pass that a lot of people would throw, I don't think, honestly. But he just, I think, looks at the leverage and decides to throw it. So now, late in the second quarter, empty side, gets fouled. Good work. What I want to call out here again is just the hesitation, the ability to use hesitation. Strings him out, uses that little hop step right. So inside out, second inside out, just gets AD just that little bit off balance and goes. So this first play of the second half, always curious what teams run first play of the second half. It's a big play there from Castle here. Castle kind of helps blow this thing up, right? So Reeves back this way on a screen from AD. And then look at the way AD is going to just flip this, right? And then this ends up being kind of a get. But Castle stays attached and blows this up. He's with it, Reeves the whole way. Anticipates the play. Does a great job. So here, gets up over the screen, gets the contest. Austin Reeves just makes a sick shot, right? Look, sometimes the offense is going to beat you. This is a great defensive possession from him. This is an unbelievable defensive possession to me from Steph Castle. He does everything right here. Every single little thing. It's perfect. This one, we're going to kind of get into some fun actions that they started to run here. I think they run this like on kind of back-to-back plays to start the half. So Champagnie is here. He's going to set like a little wrap pin for Wemby. Wemby's going to come up off of what essentially amounts to like staggered off balls in the hopes that he can go get this ball here. Honestly, like I'm a little surprised Chris Paul doesn't throw this ball to Wemby here. But Reeves, I guess, undercuts it, and LeBron might be there. He might think it's a little cloudy. Instead, he just gets it to Castle. Pump fake. Again, like this is one where you would expect somebody to be able to turn the corner, and he just like can't turn the corner at this point yet. But he does see Wemby. Wemby's just saying, hey, throw this thing up. And he goes and throws it up. Perfect. You could say maybe he's not trying to turn the corner here. I think that's like a very real assessment here that he makes the choice. Hey, Wemby has his hand pointed. I'm just going to go this way in order to try and draw LeBron away here, knowing that he's just got Reeves cooked. I would hear that out. I'd hear out that he's that smart. I think he is that smart in all honesty. So here again, little wrap pin from Champagnie into a stagger for Wemby. Wemby comes through, back out to Castle. Castle drills another three, right? Again, like I just want to be clear with people. Like Steph Castle is shooting a not great percentage from three so far this year. He's shooting 29% from three this year. And a big case from Spurs fans has been he's taken a lot of like full court heaves, but not that many, guys. He hasn't taken that many of them to where it'd be like crushing his percentage down below 30. But hey, again, if he can make this shot, changes his career. Totally changes his career. And by the way, he is shooting 36% on catch and shoot threes this year. I think he's always been like relatively okay on catch and shoot threes. If you look at the Connecticut numbers, let's see if we can pull those up real quick. Per synergy, he shot, 26% from 3 on catch and shoot 3. So maybe I am mistaken on that. But it looks better off the catch than it does off the pull up for me. Here, he's on LeBron. I like the help here. One thing I want to call out immediately. So look at him put his arm out. He tells Champagny, switch, stay on LeBron. A lot of rookies miss those calls. It took Cade Cunningham a lot of years to figure out those calls. He cuts off Knecht, does a good job there. Again, communicating what's happening. He feels Reeves here. He tells Chris Paul, hey, go out, I'm stuck. Contest, gets the shot. He's talking, he's communicating. That's the Connecticut in all likelihood. That staff is fantastic at what they do on defense. They do a great job of teaching those guys how to communicate. Look at him just like trying to bother already. Does a great job. You know, again, if you watch the Knecht video, this is like a Horns pseudo set again. I know that AD ends up coming all the way up here, but that's basically the way it sets up. But you enter the ball and you go away, right? That's what Knecht was thinking on that one. So here, Castle recovers, gets through. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him recover. It's ridiculous. That is a ridiculous play from Steph Castle. So gets through the first one with a bump, but gets through it. Screen one here. They get into like a Chicago where AD is going to try and hand this ball off here. He does. And just look at him fight. Look at him scratch. Look at him get through. That's sick. That's awesome. I feel like I just went full Gruden. That's awesome. That's what we're talking about. That's awesome. That's absolutely everything I want from an on-ball defender, from a guy fighting through screens, scratching, clawing, recovering, getting all the way back in. Great play. Here, you just get to see the use quick reflexes to be able to get to this ball here. So he's on the weak side. You can see Reeves kind of setting this up so that Reddish can get a wide open 3 in the corner. He sees it and he gets the deflection. Stops the play. Ball actually went out off of Reeves too, so even better. That was a fantastic play there from Castle just to see that develop. Again, not a guy that's going to turn the corner super easy. You know, Austin Reeves, I think, is kind of an underrated defender insofar as he's not like getting crushed like Russell is, but you know, Reeves has no problem here staying in front. What does he see here on the kick out to Champagny? I think he's just kind of throwing this ball into an area, in all honesty. But it's a potential assist. So here, I put this one on here because this was a bit of miscommunication again. Spurs have had a few of these. And in all honesty, I don't know if I will blame Castle for this one. Keldon Johnson has a tendency to fall asleep on defense. Some miscommunications, let's go with an inordinate number of the miscommunications of the Spurs on defense tend to involve Keldon Johnson. Here, I would just be interested to know what is being said between these two. It feels like they're trying to communicate who is handling who. And the way this one starts is obviously Keldon on Knecht, Steph on Russell. I see no reason why they would switch here. I think this is on Kelton. I think this is pretty clearly on Kelton. I can't confirm that without knowing what's being said between the two of them. I truly have no idea why Keldon is coming up and following Russell here. Like, genuinely, I'm just not sure what the efficacy of that would be. Does he think he's on Russell like momentarily? I don't know. But you can also see him like kind of try and bounce back to connect, realizing, oh shit, that's not my guy. And Knecht gets this easy bucket here off the look away pass from Reeves. Just look at Castle's body language. Just look at it, Keldon. Keldon has like a smile on his face, like, whoops. That's my bad. That's my bad. I'm guessing that's on Keldon. There's no exchange. There's no actual exchange there, despite the fact that it seemed like there might be. So here, Steph. This is like sort of a stack pick and roll, but honestly, I don't really even know how to. So this is a ram ball screen into a stack, seemingly, right? So ram screen from Russell. Koloko comes up, sets the screen. LeBron should theoretically be driving. Koloko should be rolling. Russell should come up here. Russell just kind of goes through the motions here, is my opinion on this. I mean, the way Koloko rolls, like, so Wemby stays attached to Koloko. Russell has every opportunity here to get to Wemby. Like, all he has to do is step this way, and he can back screen Wemby for a roll here from Koloko. He just doesn't do it. And instead, he actually runs into Koloko and just completely ruins their momentum. So here, I like the help here. Another scramble help from Castle. And Russell comes over and just heaves because they're at the end of the shot clock. He has to put that up. But I like the help here, right? I think it's worth going through what the start of the play was, just to like understand why he's up there. But, you know, he's up there and Gabe Vincent is wide open. He does a good job, I think, trying to feed Vincent back in toward the help where Wemby is. And he switches on to Koloko. Johnson does a good job getting a contest onto Russell when he's helping the helper there. It's really good. Really, really good. Here again on the ball. Steph gets over the top of a screen. I mean, just a total miscommunication between Russell and LeBron there. Russell thinks that LeBron is cutting back door. LeBron is kind of planning on coming back up for a DHO. But it's rushed by Castle. Castle getting over the top, fighting through those early actions. Makes it harder. Reject DHO here. Baseline drive from Castle. Couple things again, like just in general, right? So how do we get here? Reject DHO into a ball screen from Wemby. Wemby's going to try and roll. He has the mismatch now onto Vincent. Also, he's here. And Reeves is fine with this. Like, he's fine feeding him. But also, after this first step here, you would expect that Castle is able to get all the way here. But Reeves is able to get back. Again, doesn't really turn the corner there and lets Reeves get back into the play. And he takes this weird, like, little lefty shot at the rim. Just not a lot of elevation. The footwork's kind of funky. He just has a lot of work to do around the rim, just in terms of his footwork, in terms of his elevation. You would hope that if he's not going to be a crazy elevator, which I don't think he's going to be, he's going to have like pristine footwork. There's just some stuff that he really has to work through. So here he's on Reeves, gets a bit of a late start here, but then gets all the way back, right? He has a lot of margin for error in terms of his ability to get back into plays. So I think he's anticipating something a little bit different. So Christie kind of comes through here, and Reeves just goes around early. And I think that catches Castle by surprise. Castle runs up, gets to the ball. Good recovery, though. Really, really good recovery. And then we get into just like an empty set here with AD. And of course, AD drills it. Gets them up 3. I mean, the Lakers are just really good. Lakers have a really good offense. It's the reality. So here, Castle stuck on AD. This one he just kind of leaves early. Don't totally know why he leaves early here. I was trying to figure that out, in all honesty. I think he sees Wemby out of the corner of his eye, thinking, okay, I can go. You can see him looking this way. He realizes that's where the 2-on-1 is. I have to get back up that way. I think he just recognizes that he's got to go and sees Wemby out of the corner of his eye, but ends up getting a foul on Wemby. That's one that you have to stay just a little bit longer here because you're one pass away. I'll even say here, just a second ago, you can see Wemby here. It looks like say to Castle, hey, you take him. We'll take him. You take Christie. I'll go back to AD. The problem is that once you see this pass get thrown, you can't leave. Like if you're here already and he's looking right at Reeves, like there's no, like he's looking this way. Once this pass gets thrown, you have to stay attached because that's where the ball is. You can't leave and just assume that Wemby's going to get there. I know that he's the longest player in NBA history, but he needs to get there. It needs to stay there in order to help Wemby get there. You can stay that extra split second and be able to help. So this is kind of a fun action here that I kind of love, in all honesty. So this is a ram ball screen from the Lakers. I'm sorry that so much of this ends up turning into Lakers like offensive architecture. I just love their offense. This turns into a ram ball screen. Ram screen from Reeves. Ball screen here from AD. Into a stack. But what I like about this that is kind of fun, typically in a stack, Reeves would go get Collins here for the roll. Instead, Reeves goes to try to screen Barnes on like a delayed, like double screen at the top. And how much of that is just Reeves adjusting on the fly? I don't know. But I think it's a fascinating idea for a stack pick and roll that I kind of love. But Steph Castle here again, just perfect switch, high, does a great job, forces the turnover from LeBron. This one, I loved this one because you can clearly see the eye manipulation here, right? So in transition, he is looking this way. He is looking at Harrison Barnes, which forces LeBron out, or not LeBron. Who is that? That is who? Reeves that way. First time those two have ever been confused for one another. It was hard with Reeves being right behind Collins. But you can see Castle is looking directly at Barnes and just drills Collins right there. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So here, look at that. Goes down, helps onto Reddish, gets back out to Russell, close out. And look, AD is going to make shots. Sometimes the offense beats you, right? But what we're going to call out here with Castle is he's got Keldon Johnson there. Keldon, I don't know. But Keldon goes and like stunt doubles from all the way across the lane, let's go with. So Castle has to go down and help the helper here. He's available for Reddish. I like that Wemby is here in this passing lane in front of Russell. They do a really good job here. Keldon gets back. Then he goes back to try and like not do anything double. I love this closeout though from Castle. Does a great job getting back. Gets back. Forces the kick out. Wemby's just a little too deep there. 1 point game. Ends up being a 2-point game for the Lakers there. Again, great job here from Castle fighting over the top of screens. So here, double drag in transition for Reeves. Castle just says, I'm getting over the top. Uses that front foot. Look at how he steps with that front foot here. Gets up over the top, sprints back. Wemby does a great job here, staying attached in drop. But I love the recovery. They don't even have to switch anything. And that's because, was that Vassell there? No, that was Steph. No, that was Vassell that chased over the top. I'm an idiot. Castle comes back up here. And now he's going to have to deal with this switch from Reeves. They put 2 on the ball. There's a great help over the top by Vassell, not by Steph Castle. I got confused by the hair here. But I like where Castle is. Castle's in good position there. Here. And then he's in good position here. Stays with LeBron, switches on to Reeves. Helps force a miss. Really good job. And then we're out in transition. Castle. Again, I think this is an insane foul call, but like, I like the shoulder dip and I like the leverage here. I think he's out of control and that shouldn't be a foul call if I'm being completely honest, but he just out leverages Reeves here and does a great job. I hate the foul call, but he draws it. Good work by him. Now we're in just a 1-2 ball screen. He ends up flying back out. I love how aggressive and decisive he is attacking this closeout, though. That's the reason I put this one on here. Castle out to the wing, sees the closeout from Christie and just goes, I can just beat this guy. I love it. Has 3 Lakers around him. I mean, honestly, I would prefer a kick out to Vassell here. But, I mean, my goodness. This is the finishing stuff that I've been talking about where, like, he can do some power finishing stuff. He was a good finisher at Connecticut. But that's super impressive. That is a super impressive finish through traffic by Castle there. It's one of the better finishes I've seen from a rookie this year. That's really, really impressive. So entry into horns, goes away, switches on to Reeves, fights over the top of screens again, blows that up, and then he's there at the rim to help. Again, sometimes LeBron's just going to beat you, right? But look at him fight over the top of all these actions again, right? He's just fighting, scratching, getting through. Then he's going to rotate over, try to get there for LeBron. He's tough, man. This is an excellent game for a rookie. This one gets back out. I mean, this is like a movement 3, and you can kind of see where things start to break down a little bit for him if it's not just like a spot 3 where he can really set his feet. I mean, the balance is just totally off here. He's got like the leg flail going that way. No reason to necessarily take this shot, in my opinion. Ends up taking it, misses it. Lakers go down, drill 2 free throws. That's your game. But hey, super impressive game from a rookie, I thought. I think he's been really good this year in these last 5 games or 6 games, at least, since he's been a starter. Wasn't great to start the year, but very clearly one of the, 5 or 6 best, rookies in the league at this point. Probably something like that. Jared McCain looks great. Edie looks great. Jalen Wells has been really valuable all year for Memphis. So like you have to throw him in there. Trying to think like who else like really, really, truly stands out. I mean, Ryan Dunn's been valuable, but I'd probably have Castle ahead of Dunn at this point, in all honesty. Ricochet has been useful, but probably in the same group with Ricochet for sure. Hey, I love the Castle pick from the Spurs. I thought it made a ton of sense. It's probably exactly what I would have done. And I think it's, he looks like a great player for them moving forward. Looks like a guy that's going to be really useful. What he will be, though, like what the ceiling is, will be dependent on the shot. Is he a consistent high-end shooter, or is he just like I can make them sometimes shooter? If it's the latter, he's probably like a starter-ish player, a guy that helps you win for sure because he defends at a high level, processes it super well, dribbles, passes. But you'd like to see the shooting come around to be able to like really get to that high-end ceiling outcome, because at the end of the day, like the burst, the athleticism, like it's just not, you want a little bit more than what you get from Steph Castle at the end of the day. But if he's shooting, he's skilled enough as a ball handler to be able to take advantage of the threat of that shot and then be able to really score. So I like it. I like it a lot. Mr. TD asks, is this still a pretty bad class at this point? I mean, the rookies haven't been wildly impressive at this point. You get flashes of great rookie games, but nothing consistently from anybody yet, except for maybe this little McCain run recently. Nothing consistently at this point. Just a real quick follow up here for Castle as well. We can look at his on-off numbers. I bet they're quite strong, I would guess, for San Antonio. With him on the court, they win their minutes by 2. With him off the court, they lose their minutes by 5. So really impressive on-off numbers. And then if you look at the Wemby numbers as well, like Wemby without Steph Castle, -3 for the Spurs in 221 minutes. Wemby and Steph Castle together, they're beating opponents by 8.7 points per 100 possessions. And then Steph without Wemby, they're a -5.6, but of course they are. Like they don't really have enough else, especially at the center position. But he has really helped accentuate Victor Wembanyama is what that tells me. He's made life easier for Victor, which is the key. That's what the Spurs want. They want guys that make things easier for Victor. At the very least, Castle's going to be that. Now, like the other question for Castle is he entered the starting lineup when Sohan went out. What does this look like when Sohan comes back? Because that would be 2 questionable shooters on the court. I think at that point, if you're going to do that, you probably have to It's hard because Barnes has been a good, valuable shooter for them, at least so far. I probably wouldn't mind them going with like a Chris Paul, Vassell, Castle, Sohan, Wemby lineup. That would be pretty fun to me. I think I would be in on that. I think that's probably what I would do instead of Champagny. Champagny's also been like a really valuable shooter for them so far, by the way, like maybe one of the more unsung, like useful players in the league to this point, in all honesty, having made 37% of his threes on 6 attempts per game. And, you know, again, when he's on the court, they win their minutes by 3. When he's off the court, they lose their minutes by 8. So Champagny's been really valuable for them to this point. So it'd be quite a demotion. It might honestly be that Steph goes back to the bench to keep Champagny out there when Sohan gets back, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily a demotion. You just kind of have to play the guys that fit together. I'd be interested to see Sohan and Castle together a little bit more, though. I mean, they're going to need to figure that out because both of those guys look like serious building blocks for the Spurs. So, you know, so far when they've played together, Sohan and Castle, it's only been 50 minutes. So the Spurs have kind of avoided that even in the games where they were both out there. They were a -5 in those minutes. And let's see if any of those minutes matched with Victor. So they played 17 minutes of Sohan, Castle, and Wemby, and they were a -19, but like that doesn't mean anything really. Castle and Wemby without Sohan +11, Sohan and Wemby without Castle +2.7. So, you know, that's a key for the Spurs moving forward, figuring out how to make Sohan and Castle work together. That would be my key thing that I would really want to try and figure out if I was them. But you know what? If they keep starting Steph Castle, given the way this rookie class is, I'd be intrigued by a rookie of the year bet on him. We can kind of look at rookie of the year odds while we're here. So NBA rookie of the year odds right now, it looks like, what do we got? I mean, it's at least more than 10-1. Look, seeing what I'm seeing. As of 5 days ago, it was 16-1. It's not a bad flyer, in all honesty, on Castle. I don't think it's likely that he wins rookie of the year, but he's among the top group, at least, since he's been starting. So if he continues to play like this, there will be a case, especially if the Spurs continue to win games, because he is a critical piece on a team that has been pretty good recently. They're now 6-8, though, after their loss to the Mavericks and then losing to the Lakers over the weekend. So they play the Thunder coming up here in 2 days. Then they play the Jazz, which will be a good get-right game. But then Warriors and Jazz after that again. So, you know, maybe we'll be talking again about Steph Castle at some point soon. I will likely again stream tomorrow, you know, right around when the games end tomorrow night. I can almost, like, I'm not going to promise that, but I would say very likely. If I do, it will involve Shaedon Sharpe's game tonight. I know that. I am excited to watch that game in even more depth and like really watch him and pull some tape and kind of go through that one. So we'll definitely do that. But that's all I've got today. I'm a little bit out of steam. I've podcasted now for 4.5 hours today, actually 5.5 hours today, because I did Hello and Welcome, the Toronto Raptors show with Will Liu and Alex Wong. So if you're a Raptors fan, go listen to that. Otherwise, be back tomorrow, maybe the next day. Until next time, shout out to our sponsors, Duer, Robinhood Gold, and PrizePicks. Until next time, we'll talk soon. Bye.